Ladies, gentlemen, folks beyond the binary, grab your husband, wife, partner, mistress, your wife's boyfriend, your teenage girlfriend's dad, and gather around your radios. It's time for this week's meeting of the Erotic Thriller Club. We're a handsome, mediocre writer that just moved to a new city. Why live in squalor with the poors when you can live in a rich couple's guest house? The only caveat being that the rich couple is almost never home, and their 14-year-old daughter will stop at nothing to fuck us. Wait, what? No. This week on the Erotic Thriller Club, The Crush.
God damn it, Garrett. You fucking got me. Oh,
hey, everybody,
no.
welcome to the Erotic Thriller Club. I'm your host, Garrett Callender, and with me, as always, Kit Ryan.
Hello, I'm Kit Ryan. God damn it. Oh, boy, this one was a roller coaster, wasn't it?
And not like a roller coaster like in Fear that we'll get to eventually. This movie is a fucking trip. Like, I don't know. We started with Zandalee. We moved on to Fatal Attraction. Now we've hit The Crush. The Crush is such a specific, I don't know, there's like this subgenre of the erotic thriller where grown up wants to fuck child. And it's icky.
It's super icky. And part of me wonders if it's like an extension of the idea that you see in some horror movies, like The Omen, where it's like this fear of children, and the power that they might secretly be evil and come after us, and that no one will ever believe you because we assume children are innocent.
I think this one makes me a little uncomfortable too.
A little?
Because a lot of these movies, you're watching a high school kid played by a 30-year-old.
Yes.
And this one, we are watching somebody who's supposed to be 14 played by somebody who turned 16 on this set.
Yeah, I'm not super cool with the fact that real life 30-something Cary Elwes kissed 15 or 16-year-old Alicia Silverstone for the movie. And like,
well, she was an emancipated minor for this movie.
In that case.
She had to become emancipated at the age of 15 so that she could basically work adult hours.
Which is just, that is intentionally like skirting the laws that are there for a reason to keep children from like working in a factory and losing their tiny little fingers in the machines. And those rules are there for a reason. And maybe some of those rules were so that you wouldn't get exploited by movie studios who want to make you kiss a 30-year-old man.
Do you think Warner Brothers was like, this feels icky, let's send them to Canada? Because like this movie full on has the vibes of a straight to video movie, but this was like, this is Warner Brothers. Morgan Creek did this. I mean, at that time, I'm trying to think like what else would have come out, like Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. Like Morgan Creek was putting out like big fucking movies at the time.
Didn't they do Robin Hood too? The Prince of Thieves, not Men in Tights, which was the Cary Elwes one, hilariously.
How do you say his name?
Elwes.
Elwes.
Oh
I
my
think you
god.
said Elway. I don't know. Who knows? It's
I'm so
Elwes.
sorry.
We've Googled it. Somebody I've said his name wrong my entire life. But yeah, you are correct there. And I mean, okay, I do need to say this before we just dive into the movie. Um, Something fucking crazy. The writer director of this movie claims that this happened to him.
No.
He
No.
wrote this based on a thing that happened to him, which
Is
to
this
me
like a
is like,
Playboy, like, magazine, like, "Dear Playboy, I never thought this would happen to me."
well, I think that this is the tale of a mediocre writer who had a child after him.
Which is like,
But
let's all be clear here, it's not that unusual for, like, a teenager to get a crush on a grown adult. It's just like even the woman in the movie, his coworker says, like, "That's not unusual. You have to be the adult." And, like, it's weird that he had that experience and he turned it into this.
it's weird that he had that experience and was willing to say it out loud.
Yeah.
'Cause, like, if he
Yeah.
based this off, like, cause yeah, throughout the movie, like, there is a point when Cary Elwes is like, "I wanna fuck this child, but I ain't." And even the fact that this writer would be like, "This is based off of me. I
Wanting to fuck a
didn't do the
child.
child, but don't worry, I thought about
I
it."
sure did want to.
So, here's the craziest shit, and I don't know if you caught this as you were watching it. So this guy, when he wrote the movie, used the real person it was based off's name.
The real child's name?
The child, correct. Which I
Oh
assume
my
by the
god.
time by the time it came out, like, that would have been,
Yeah,
I
she wouldn't,
assume,
but still, she was a minor at the time it happened. There's a reason that, like, we don't, come on, man.
so her name was Darian, and they filmed this whole movie using the name Darian. It was released in theaters with the name Darian. The trailer says Darian.
Oh,
For home video and cable, which is the version we saw, they went back and ADR'd the name Adrian in every single time her name is said.
I did not notice that. Not
And
at
I
all.
so I the movie is on Tubi for anyone that wants to watch it. I actually went the route of I didn't want to watch commercials. I ended up buying it on iTunes and add special
Now y
features.
now you own this.
Now I own it. So I got to watch Kurtwood Smith, Red Foreman from that '70s show where the bad guy in RoboCop plays her dad in this movie. And there's a long interview with him. And he said after the movie came out, somebody approached him and was like, "Why is it so weird in parts?" And he's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." He went back and found it on cable, watched it. So everywhere they ADR'd this, they didn't get the actors back in the room to do it. They brought in just people. So there are full on scenes in this movie, Kit, where when Kurtwood Smith is talking, it is a whole string of dialogue in a different man's voice, and you can tell.
I was not paying close enough attention, though. I was probably too busy writing "Carrie, no" in my notes, which I did many, many times.
Ugh, let's
Now I
get
feel like I have to
going.
go and rewatch it to look for this, but I don't wanna rewatch it because it made me very anxious for a long time.
It's worth a rewatch. I'm gonna tell everyone up front, this movie fucking rules. It's cringy, but it's insane in the way I want these movies to be insane. Let's
Okay.
get movie starts. We got Cary Elwes
We
looking
got
for an
great
apartment.
90s music playing in the background too, I wanna point out. Like, it's not a song I
Oh,
recognize, but it fit that vibe really well.
yeah, like, I feel like a lot of the songs I could see being in Buffy the Vampire Slayer or,
Absolutely.
like, things that were played in the Bronze, like the club in the show. He's looking for an apartment though, and, like, there's
In the
too many pores
newspaper
around.
in the newspaper classifieds, which I loved. That's so delightfully old-timey.
Which is funny because the apartments he's looking at in this
All
movie probably cost 15 grand a month now.
Well, yeah, doesn't it isn't it supposed to take place in Seattle? I think
Did
it's what
they
it said.
ever actually
I
say where
think
he
it says
was?
it in the beginning that it, like, flashes up on screen that he's in Seattle. I could
I
be
don't
wrong.
know if that's true. They would have shown the Space Needle or something to, like, establish, like, we are in I think they're in a
I could be
nondescript
wrong.
city.
I mean, I could be wrong.
'Cause
But he's so yes, the apartments that he is looking at are all there's too many poor people, it's too noisy, whatever. And then he finds, of course, the perfect place.
Yeah, you just go to the rich neighborhood, look for a sign that says, "Come to our guest house." He goes, talks to the people. They're very nice, but you know what? They're out of town a lot, and their
That's a good
14-year-old
thing.
daughter.
That's a bad thing.
Well, actually, before he even gets there, he has what I'm gonna refer to as a meet cute manslaughter.
Ooh, that is such a good phrase for it because I also wrote down in my notes that like I love an almost kill meet cute, but meet cute manslaughter that snaps.
It sounds like a Cannibal Corpse song. Like, I've definitely seen Cannibal Corpse where they're like, "This next song is called 'Fucked with a Knife.'" But, Meet Cute Manslaughter, I think, would is a banger. Yeah, so he almost hits Alicia Silverstone with his car. She gives him a sassy look. He
She's
says, "Oh,
on
I think
roller
I"
skates because she is terminally 90s. She has an incurable case of the 90s.
and she's a fucking baby. Uh, he sees the mom and she's like, she's a little what we call headstrong. I didn't get anything weird out of him almost hitting her with the car. Like it felt very normal. But he immediately just like moving in. This place rules. House is nice. Uh,
I
the
can throw
place seems to have,
parties in their backyard and swim in the neighbor's pool, I guess. Like, I
they
don't
don't
know, it
seem to
comes with
mind that I smoke cigars inside.
it's the guest house. What do they care?
Let's see. So we set up that Tara from Buffy is Alicia Silverstone's friend. She sends her in to go take a look at
Oh,
him, and
yeah.
she basically comes out and's like, "He's hot. He's old. He's 28, but he's hot." And
Well,
I
to a
will say,
14-year-old, that is old.
Cary Elwes is fucking hot in this
He's
movie.
cute. I really was digging his vibe. I like yeah. I mean, he's like
Like,
the exact same age he was when he made uh Robin Hood Men in Tights, and he's so cute in that.
it really makes me I mean, other than the movie is, like, kinda shitty. I mean, shitty in the best way. Full compliments to the chef that made this movie, because I love it. But he is so handsome in this movie. I could have absolutely seen him continue on as a heartthrob, and, it just the cards just didn't play for him, you know?
I can't explain why because I mean, everyone loved him in Princess Bride as the handsome lead. So, I don't know.
So,
Next thing you know,
Carrie
he's carving
always
people up.
yeah, yes. So, Carrie always gets to his job at Peak Magazine, where his boss immediately is like, "We hired you because you're a great detective and kind of a shitty writer."
Yes. Yeah, you're good at chasing down a story. It's just that when you write the story, it's not good.
Man, I can't think of, like, a whiter man thing to just, like, get a really good job and then be like, "But you're not very good at it."
Right? Absolutely. But like it goes out of its way early to establish that he's like a handy, practical guy. He's working on his car. He's fixing a stove or something when Alicia Silverstone first walks into, or when Alicia Silverstone's friend walks in to see him for the first time. And so like you get the feeling that he's gonna be the kind of guy who is a person who fixes problems, right? A very practical person and not because he's not a good writer, not gonna be good at communicating, which turns out to be true. The part about fixing problems, not so much. The part about not being good at communicating, absolutely is true.
So the first, like, real meeting between them, Cary Elwes is sitting in his office, his apartment, writing in a Hawaiian shirt, smoking a cigar. He's sweaty as fuck.
Oh,
This
yeah.
place this is the perfect apartment for an erotic thriller because it just immediately gives you that sexy glisten.
Yes, there's no air conditioning in here for sure.
He's got the little short shorts on. And then Alicia Silverstone comes in and starts asking too many fucking questions. I would feel so uncomfortable talking to a 14-year-old in any context,
Okay, well,
let alone being
I've
alone with
worked in
one.
schools before, so I can say that, like, I am perfectly comfortable with talking with 14-year-olds, and this is very much how they act. Like, just wandering in and asking a bunch of questions, and also, like, trying to push boundaries in a few ways as well. It's all very normal, and honestly, the way Cary Elwes is reacting to her at first is perfectly acceptable. Like, it's the way you should talk to a 14-year-old. You answer their questions and you humor them a little and you don't do anything inappropriate, you know?
He does ask, "Are you actually 14?" She goes, "Almost
Yeah.
15." And then we get to really the first inappropriate interaction between them. After this conversation, he goes for a jog, gets all sweaty, and it's a sweaty,
Mhm,
sexy
mhm.
jog. He comes back, he gets in the shower. Alicia Silverstone just barges in,
Yeah.
talking
And
to him through the door. Just
that's where
what?
he should have established boundaries, right? I am in the shower, you need to leave. We can talk later. Also, he should have closed the fucking door. Why did he not close the bathroom door? Like, as soon as he realized someone else was in his home.
Kit, it's because this is an erotic thriller, and this is the first time we see ass in the movie.
That's true. That Carrie butt shot is chef's kiss. It's a nice butt.
But you know it's not his. There's no face. You're
I
not just
don't
gonna
care
show a
whose
butt.
butt it
If you just
is. I mean, I
I have
do.
a hard time, uh, just suspending my disbelief when I see a butt with no face. Unless
Mm.
there is a face attached to the top of that butt, then that is a stunt butt. And I like a stunt butt. I approve of the stunt butt. Like, I
I approve of
appreciate
all these
the
people
work.
out there, yes, who are like hand models doing like, the insert shots for like showing a ring on a finger or something in an ad. Like some people have great butts and they deserve this work, Garrett. Don't put them out of a job.
But this 14-year-old saw his butt
Yes.
and immediately
Was like, I want a
this
piece of
is the
that.
start of a horny rage for her.
Yes.
And for listeners, if you find yourself in this situation, this exact situation, what you do is you go to the girl's parents
Immediately. And say,
immediately and say,
hey,
"I was in the shower. She
and your
came
daughter just
inside."
walked in. First of all, I want new locks so that I can lock my door, right? And second of all, you need to have a conversation with your daughter about respecting my space, right?
But
Like,
he doesn't do that
no,
because he's a little horny, probably.
probably. I mean, first of all, I have to say, just as a side note, I love the way that her character sits on chairs. It's exactly the way I do, where like she'll sling a leg over the arm of a chair. She sits on things so stupidly in just the same way I do, where you're just like sprawled the fuck out. I really appreciated that detail. And it reminded me of the story about when she was chosen to be in Clueless, that it was because I think the story is that the director saw the way she drank her soda by moving her face down to the straw instead of picking up the cup and bringing the straw to her face, and she thought that was like such an interesting way of doing things that she was like, this is the girl. And I'm like, I would do that. We have
So you
similar
feel a
body
connection to Alicia
language.
Silverstone as far as
I
her
mean,
choices.
I mean, also, I understand that, like, she skipped 2 grades, like, I skipped a grade and was young for my age for my grade anyway. So, like, I get
Which one did
peop
you skip?
technically, I did kindergarten and 1st grade at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah, I did
You were
first
like,
1st grade in the mornings and kindergarten in the afternoons. It was a hippie school.
hmm, hmm.
Yeah, Carrie is invited to go to the fancy rich people party at the big house, and everyone's there in their not tuxes but suits and gowns, and we find out Alicia Silverstone can play the piano really well. And then he says the thing. This is the first time I wrote Carrie no, and it is when he says, "If you were 10 years older."
You'd what? And then she's like, "Take me in your piece of shit car and let's get out of here." And for some reason,
That's the second
he
time I wrote
doesn't.
Carrie no.
For some reason, it is funny how shitty his car is. It gets better, but like he's sanded it down. It basically looks like Ace Ventura's car. And which, since they were both Morgan Creek around the same year, it may have just been
Actually
recycled.
been.
But I don't know if he just forgot what kidnapping is, but he does take this 14-year-old girl to a lighthouse, uh, where they kiss. He does not resist.
He does
After the
and he
kiss, he's like,
holds it way, way, way too long. He does not immediately pull back. And he never says like, "Oh no. No. That's bad." He's just like, "Oh, we should go." Not okay, my dude. Not even close to okay.
this movie's so icky, and like it's icky that the director says this is a movie about a thing that happened to him.
God, I
It's
hope he
even
doesn't mean that part.
it's even icky that like Cary Elwes had to do that.
Mhm.
Like I feel bad for Alicia Silverstone.
Yeah.
And I read an interview somewhere that there was something where they definitely tried to get her to do more in this movie that you
Oh,
shouldn't be
no.
trying to get like a 15 or 16-year-old to do. It's just I don't
Mm.
this movie's fucking icky. He kisses her at the lighthouse, and at that moment I shouted at my TV, "Red Foreman's gonna beat your ass."
Oh, we also find out that this 14-year-old girl rewrote his article for work and did it better than him. And that like it made the front page or whatever without them doing any editing on it because she had secretly rewritten it. And like how fucking sad. You are a grown man and a professional writer, and a literal 14-year-old just wrote your work better than you.
Well, it has been established that she is not your average 14-year-old. She is
Gifted.
um she yeah, well, one, she's gifted and he's a shitty writer. So
That balances the
yeah,
scale.
he wrote the base of the article. She did some high level punch up on it.
Mhm, mhm. Tightened up the jokes and,
Which he was not super thrilled with, because I don't know if you've ever like started a job or been asked to do something and you do kind of a purposefully shitty job to set the bar somewhere where all you have left to do is impress. She
mm.
fucking snuck in and set the bar too high for a guy who can't replicate that.
And that's where I thought the movie was gonna go. I thought it was gonna be that he would ask her to help him with the writing, and, like, that's where, things would start to devolve as, they get a little too close. That is not what happened. Instead, I guess he just resigned himself to being like, "Well, everything I do from now on is not gonna be as good. Hope my boss is okay with that."
Honestly, the next several scenes are pretty much just him looking out a window at her in a bikini
Yeah,
as
that's
he's
where I
trying to
wrote,
work.
"Carrie, no, stop looking out your window."
I do love we need to mention his best work friend, Amy,
She's
is
cute.
she's the Two-Face from Seinfeld,
I don't remember that.
where she looks really pretty in certain lighting, and then in the next lighting, she's very ugly, and Jerry never knows which lady he's gonna go on a date with. And he finds one restaurant with one booth with good lighting where she looks good, and that's the only place he lets them go on dates for the rest of the episode.
Oh my god. No, I have not seen that episode.
Well,
Yikes.
it's Amy from this movie. Uh, the first moment in this movie where Alicia Silverstone shows her crazy.
Mhm.
He's having a barbecue at their house, and he has basically all of his work friends show up to this barbecue. And as they show up, I'm trying to remember how exactly she phrases it, but Alicia Silverstone comes up and's like, "Hey, darling,
Mhm.
Nicholas," or something like that. And Amy like makes kind of a joke about it, and then he's like, "Oh, this is my landlord's kid." Really
Yeah.
downplays the fact that he was
And you
smooching
can
on this
tell that this is on
14-year-old.
purpose, that he is trying to, like, if I show this girl that I have, romantic interests my own age, she will surely give up and leave me alone.
She doesn't.
She does not.
She does not. Uh, Amy has to go get some marshmallow and sticks in the woods. Alicia Silverstone follows her into the woods. They see some yellow jackets. She's very menacing.
She creeps her out with wasp facts, which is new.
If a 14-year-old starts throwing around the scientific name for a species, be alert.
Yeah. Be alert.
You've either got like a future Jeopardy champion
Mhm.
or an absolute psychopath on
Yep.
your
Yep,
case.
yep, yep, yep. And
And
that's around the time when Amy gives the appropriate warning of like, "Hey, this girl clearly has a crush on you, and that's fine. I've had it happen to me before. It's not a big deal. It's just remember, you have to be the adult here." And instead of him being like, "Oh, of course. Why would I be anything but the adult here? I certainly wouldn't kiss her in the moonlight at a lighthouse."
Amy's
Instead
like, "That sounds very specific."
No, instead he's like, "I don't know what you're talking about. She doesn't have a crush on me." Like, okay.
So,
And
once again, we get some the fucking pool thing where she's, like, laying in her bikini, he's looking out
mhm.
the window like,
Stop
"Leave me alone,"
looking out the
and she's like, "I'm
window.
on my period."
That
And
was
it's
the
like,
weirdest
ugh.
thing when she was like, "I've got my period, so I'm not pregnant. Not that there's any reason I would be." And I was like, "This is the stop it. No." And then she steals his picture of him as a child with his grandfather, and he specifically says it's the only copy he has of this. And then she asks earlier in the movie like, "Oh, can I have it?" Which is such a weird thing to ask. And he's like, "No, it's my only copy." And so now it's missing, and he knows that she did it. And so, like, this is the time when you need to talk to the, like, not, we already said you need to talk to her parents, but like, definitely, you need to talk to her parents. She keeps coming into my space. I can see that she's been messing with my stuff, and some of it is missing. And I need you to have a conversation with her, and I want new fucking locks.
You know what you don't do in this situation, Kit?
What don't I do?
You don't sneak into the house while the parents are away and just start snooping the fuck around.
Snooping around in the 14-year-old girl's bedroom, like pulling her panties out from under the bed and then like shoving them back under there. Like, what the fuck?
You see the panties, you leave the panties alone. You can take a peek out of the corner of your eye,
It's
but to
not like it looked like a picture frame and you thought it was what you were looking for.
and if you hear the girl in the shower and you hear her coming, I don't even know what you do in that room because I
Because you
wouldn't have got
shouldn't
that
be in the
fucking
room in
far.
the first place. Also, I love that they decorated the room very flowery. You can see all of her little pony figurines, because she is clearly still a child.
He hides in the closet. As he's in the closet, he bumps into something. Alicia Silverstone knows he's in the closet, so she
She
starts undressing.
gives him a
And
little
here,
show.
so yes, it's uncomfortable. Cary Elwes shouldn't be here, but now we're entering where the adults making this movie shouldn't have done this either. We see a stunt butt for Alicia Silverstone twice.
Yeah, the butt
I
for
don't
butt,
want.
butt parody.
I know that I looked at an adult's butt in that shot,
Yes.
but they're selling me that I'm looking at a child's butt.
Yeah. It's in
And I
many
don't
ways
like.
it's like copying like if you put a kid's face, right, photoshopped onto an adult body, right? That's weird and not okay.
this is a real shame on the studio, shame on the adults that made
Yes.
this, which honestly, it seems like the guy who made this probably snuck into a child's closet at some point. So,
God, I fucking hope not.
but she leaves the room, he runs away. Right as he's opening the fucking door, Red Foreman is coming in with his
Yeah.
groceries. And I once again shouted, Red Foreman beat his ass.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
This is where I'm getting excited, Kit. The most exciting moment in this whole movie to me. Red Foreman asks for some help with the bags of shit he's carrying in. They open the attic. They climb. They have to use a stick to pull down the thing. They pull the ladder down. They go up into the attic. Seems like a normal attic until the
Yeah.
camera pans about 180 degrees. There is a full size carousel in the attic of this home.
Mhm,
I
mhm, and
can't
you mhm,
emphasize the size of this attic enough. There is a full size,
mhm,
functioning
mhm.
carousel
Yeah,
in this room.
and it's obviously a Chekhov's carousel. It's gonna come back in some dangerous way, but I could not fathom how.
I was hoping it never came back and that it was just a weird detail in a stupid movie.
But yeah, and then he's like making up a lie about why he was in the house. Like, oh, I was returning a book that your 14-year-old daughter lended me. And then she comes up and he's like, "Oh, I was showing him your carousel." And she's like, "It's not my carousel. It's your carousel, Dad. I ride real horses now."
Which don't get me started on fucking horse girls. You know any horse girls?
I mean, my best friend in like elementary and middle school was a horse girl through and through. Had the Lisa Frank pictures on the wall. Um, just desperately loved them.
Did she have a pony? Like, did she have a horse that she,
No,
like,
we
did the
weren't
competitions
we
and
were not rich enough. She was like an aspirational horse girl, not a real horse girl, cuz we nobody had that kind of money.
both versions of horse girl, like the horse girl that has the horse and horse girl that aspires to have the horse.
Mhm.
It's a weird, I don't know. Horse girls have a very specific energy, and I think it's the
Do.
energy of a 14-year-old that might try and fucking kill an adult.
It is a particular type of intensity, I think, that you don't necessarily expect out of what is otherwise a very like I mean, like, so you meet a little boy and he's like obsessed with trucks or trains or Aquaman or whatever. Chances are that boy's interests are going to change. So, yeah, he's super obsessed and will talk to you very passionately about it for like 6 months. Then he's going to move on to something else. Horse girls are horse girls for life.
You think that the Star Wars and Marvel fandom is toxic. You get on Horse Girl Reddit and you see some shit.
Really? You think piebalds are the best? Fuck you.
It get and just the racism. I don't know. I'm not I'm sorry. I don't wanna call out the horse girls.
I'm
I don't
sorry,
know
horse
what the
girls. No, don't get me wrong, I love some of that horse girl energy because it brings, the passion and the intensity, which can be a very good thing, it's just maybe that'll translate into, some real boss babe energy in the future. But for right now, it's Black Beauty energy.
mm,
Oh
I just don't
well.
like the clip clopping and the fancy clothes.
You don't like little
it's
horsey dancies?
like there's a point in this movie, like a few scenes down, where she is trying to get Nick to come to the horse show.
Mhm.
And like I can't think of anything I want to do less
Oh my
than go to a
god.
14-year-old's horse show.
I mean, I can think of a few things I'd like to do less.
Mm,
A
I don't want to go to
nine-year-old's horse show, because they're not as good.
the 9-year-old is less apt to try and fucking kill me.
It's a good point. I don't know many 9-year-olds that are gonna cut their rivals saddle or
Saddle.
whatever so that they fall and break their arm. If only because a 9-year-old wouldn't think of it.
So so back in the attic, Red Foreman's basically like, he's like, I don't know if you've noticed, but my daughter's blossoming into a young woman. And
Oh
Nick is
boy,
like,
was that
oh,
a weird thing.
I fucking saw, my man. I saw. And he's like, well, I'll cut your dick off. Ah!
That part was my favorite of the whole movie. You could tell this actor is having a blast holding, I don't even know what tool it was, like a wire cutter or some shit, talking about cutting a kid's dick off if he wants to fuck his daughter. Like, I loved it. He was clearly having fun with being in this movie.
He finally tells her, like, I like you, but I like you as a friend. You gotta leave me alone. And
And that's when it starts getting nasty.
she's like, you ever do a virgin? And he's like, God, stop. Stop
No.
saying dirty stuff to me. Like,
That's
he
the thing is
realizes
he's
at this
not
point he's
good.
fucked up.
Yeah, he realizes he's fucked up and that, like, it's almost impossible for him to talk to, like, her parents about this now because the daughter will rightly say, "He snuck into my room and watched me undress, and he's not good at lying, so he will not be able to convince them he did not do that." But yeah, this is
And
where the
so,
car thing happens.
yeah. So, Nick, I said he had the shitty car earlier because he's been doing so good at work, thanks to his 14-year-old
Ghost Rider?
coworker. Yeah. He gets this beautiful paint job on his 1960s whatever car. It looks great, but as he unveils it, right on top is scratched in the words cocksucker, which, according to the director, that is a direct thing that happened. But on his car, it said Alan, whoever sucks cock.
Wow.
I'm surprised he didn't use his own name. If he's like throwing the girl's name,
Because he doesn't want people to think he's a mediocre writer
a mediocre writer and sex pest.
and
So she puts cocksucker on his car, and Nick has the fucking balls
Yes.
in this situation to
Mhm.
tell on her to her parents. Can you,
Instead
like,
of just breaking the lease, just break the lease, leave.
you kissed a 14-year-old, my friend.
You already
You're
fucked up.
fucked.
You fucked up.
She can fuck your shit up all she wants because you can go to jail. Like, you're done.
Like,
You're
how are you
done. You
gonna
can't.
explain this to her parents? Like, they were like, "Why?" Like, they're gonna be like, "Why do you think she would do that?" What are you gonna say? "Oh, because I kissed her and then watched her undress and then told her I didn't actually want to have sex with her and now she's mad." Like, that explanation ain't gonna fly. So you need to get out of Dodge. Leave.
I love that when he walks outside to go back to his car, he's taping cardboard over cocksucker, and Cheyenne, who is Tara from Buffy, runs up and's like, I need to tell you about Adrian. Tonight, behind the orchard, and then scampers away in the weirdest, like, I wouldn't trust that either. This
No.
guy has too many 14-year-old friends.
Yeah, my immediate thought was that it was a trap, like that it was a trick somehow. But it turns out that is not true. That she really did want to talk to him about Adrian, and Adrian picked up on that and now knows that her friend is trying to talk to the man she wants to fuck. And she, of course, assumes that this is now a sexual rival.
And guess what happened? She gets fucking horse girled.
Yeah, never piss off a horse girl.
I honestly, I thought she was gonna, like, Christopher Reeves her, but, like, it worked out
It
fine.
was
Like,
an
she ended up in a
attempted
sling.
murder. It was an
Yeah.
attempted murder. It just didn't succeed. Also, though, but then he's there waiting behind the orchard for Cheyenne to
Smoking
show
a
up,
cigarette.
smoking a cigarette and wearing, I shit you people not, a Penn State sweatshirt. I don't know if this movie was prescient or if someone in the wardrobe department had heard that there's some shady shit going on at Penn State.
Just waiting for his 14-year-old friends, and when she pops up, he's like, I thought you were Cheyenne.
And she's
Because
like,
I had a meeting with my other 14-year-old friend.
which is a totally normal thing for me, a 28-year-old man, to do.
Then next shot, Amy's coming over to Nick's house, and the little girl's sitting on the steps and's like, he kissed me at the lighthouse. I'm
Yeah, he
like,
took me to
yeah.
make out point.
We find out that like she deleted some of his work files, which were super important. And while he's home, like getting his locks changed finally and typing up
Finally.
on his computer, he looks down and he sees a little hidden door under his rug.
Yeah,
Kit, he goes down into a room and finds
Mhm.
the most Helga Pataki, Hey Arnold shit.
Oh, I forgot about that from Hey Arnold. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It is fucking terrifying.
It is a shrine to him.
With lit
And
candles, meaning she goes down there regularly.
which it's weird that there's a hidden door that leads down to there because he clearly is living like above a garage.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I could see
It's
why there'd be like a way to get from the garage to like the room above the garage, but presumably there's a way to get in there from the ground floor as well,
and
right?
it's
It's not
not
like
like this is a hidden underground room.
no, this
Like
is
he
just the
lives up
first floor, and he lives on the second floor.
and like her dad should have somebody should have gone
No,
in the garage at a point and been like, there is a shrine to the man that lives here.
no, Dad does all of his handy DIY projects in the attic next to the carousel. He never goes to the garage.
That's the attic is much more spacious as well.
Mm-hmm.
Adds a whole nother floor to the house. But yeah, super fire hazard. And then immediately goes back upstairs and just nails that trapdoor shut because he's afraid of the shrine to
While she
himself.
just keeps calling and calling and calling and leaving like 100 like answering machine messages.
He finally tries to get a new place. The landlady's like, yeah, we can get you in a week.
I don't understand why he slept another night in that place. Ask a coworker if you can crash on their couch, right? Get him
Go
fucking
sleep at
motel.
Amy's house.
Yeah,
Don't bring
sleep at
Amy to
Amy's
your
house.
house.
Don't bring Amy to your. Yeah, that's the thing is Amy sleeps over at his house, and it's like, why the fuck would you do that? Go sleep at her house. Like, do
And
not
he
spend
wakes up.
another night after you have found a shrine to you in the same fucking plot of land as the person who made that shrine. Don't sleep there.
He wakes up and Adrian is at the fucking foot of their bed. And then he jumps and she's gone. And this
Staring
is
at the.
where,
Yeah, you got fucking new locks and left your window open, you goddamn genius.
man, this girl though, like he hears banging and he goes to investigate and she is just going fucking ham in the kitchen, smashing something. And when Adrian gets mad, Adrian gets sweaty. And when Adrian gets sweaty, Adrian's insane.
Yeah, yeah. And she's like, I'm making lemonade because she's
It's
cutting up
really
lemons.
it's really the fatal attraction, like everybody's having fun. She's crying in a room looking in the middle distance.
Yeah, yeah. Only instead of staring at the wall and turning the light switch on and off, she's chopping away at lemons like it's cutting firewood.
Next morning, Amy tries to tell Adrian, this is just a crush. I've had this before. It's gonna pass. Like you'll realize this was just a crush. She says something shitty, leaves, goes to her dark room to develop some film. Undoes a lock, goes in. Adrian immediately closes that
I
lock.
don't understand how Adrian managed to find her because one of these people is in a car and the other is on roller skates. So how the hell did you track her all the way back to her house?
I would say she's equally as savvy as Lex from Jurassic Park, who, when discovered an interactive CD-ROM, was
Mhm.
able to reroute all of the electrical systems and shit within Jurassic Park.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I would think that she had an interactive CD-ROM and probably just did whatever the 1993 version of Googling someone's address is.
Oh, it's called Yellow Pages or White
Oh,
Pages.
a book.
She looked it
Yeah, a
up in the White
book.
Pages. Yeah.
You're right. I forgot about those.
Did you? Because I definitely remember looking up like my friends' phone numbers in it. Like,
Yeah, I did up
yeah.
until I never had to do it ever again. And
You know what's
it's
wild to
been
me is like the idea that like nowadays if someone puts my fucking address on the internet for everyone to see, I would be so angry. Like what the fuck? You put my name and my address and my phone number where everybody can see it. Horrifying. Back then, we did that on purpose. Well, yeah, otherwise, how will anyone call me? So I'm just gonna put all my sensitive information. Why don't I put my social security number there too and a list of my greatest fears?
well, one of my greatest fears is bees because I don't want to get Macaulay Culkin and my girl
Yeah,
just like Amy did in this dark room.
murder by dark room wasps is very novel. You got to give this girl points for creativity for sure. She
Like,
locks the lock and blocks the vent that's going to keep all of the like get all the gross chemicals out and bring in fresh air. And I was like, "Oh, are you going to kill her via dark room chemicals?" No. She has brought the wasps and she is pumping them in through the fucking vents.
and they are flying in straight into her
Oh
face,
boy.
mouth, full on Candyman is
Mhm.
happening to
Mhm.
this lady inside this room. And the funniest shit to me is in the next scene when Adrian goes to talk to Nick, she's like, I don't want to bug you.
Oh my
And I'm like,
god. Yes.
bugs.
Yes, she's so good at this because there's another time when she's talking to Cheyenne and she's like, "Aren't you going to tell me to break a leg right before the competition starts?" Like this girl, she's good at this.
She's she's a crafty bitch. And like once we get into this part, like this whole end is just so horror movie and I
Oh
love it.
yeah.
Like she honestly is such a good villain. Like
Yeah.
Alicia Silverstone kind of kills this role. Like as
Oh,
creepy and as like icky as this movie makes me feel, she's
she's
doing
doing
a
an
great
excellent
job.
job. Yeah.
So good that she won 2 MTV Movie Awards for this film in
Oh,
1993.
diggity. Well, I'm
Best
assuming
actress, best villain.
yeah, nice. And this was her first role, right? Like this was
Yeah. It says and introducing Alicia
yeah.
Silverstone in the credits.
Yeah, so she's at her big horsey competition and she's scanning the crowd after lying to Cheyenne about how like uh she and Carrie are so close now, you know, they're definitely gonna do each other and he's definitely gonna be here at the competition. And then he's not. So she leaves the competition to go to his fancy fundraiser for his boss. She fucking storms in and just slaps motherfucker. And it is loud.
I wish anything this exciting ever happened at my job
I
where just like
know.
a child comes in and starts screaming at somebody and it's like, "This is my boyfriend," and everybody's like, "What the
What the
fuck is
fuck?
happening?"
Yeah, and then he very unwisely takes her out of the crowded room of people and starts like
Witnesses, my friends,
you need those
witnesses.
witnesses so much, but he does not ever think of this. And so, like, she's trying to kiss him, right? And he's pushing her off and she's screaming. And everyone in the other room can hear this 14-year-old girl screaming bloody murder. And of course, they're gonna think but he's not fucking smart enough to just stop doing this.
Great detective, terrible writer, and just an overall dimwit.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
He's he's pretty, but there ain't much going on up top.
No, there is not.
So he finally is like, I'm gonna go move into my new apartment. He gets there. Mrs. Tinkerman is like, get out. I hear you're a drug dealer, you son of a bitch. Get off my property. And he's like, no, Mrs. Tinkerman, I've got to live here. She's lying to you. And when the door opens, it's Mrs. Tinkerman's son. His nips are rock hard and he's ready to beat ass.
Well, you came and threatened his mother, so I understand.
It was either cold in that house or, like, the excitement of an ass beating just
Really
was
got them.
jetting those things out of his shirts. So he goes home, he starts getting arrested for
Yeah, he
assault of a
drives up
se
and there are cops, and he has the audacity to be like, "Why are you here? What's going on?" "Oh, I don't know, maybe everyone at a fundraiser just heard a girl screaming after you took her away from the rest of the group." "I don't know."
But that's not what happened. What happened is Adrian, at some point, goes home and beats the shit out of herself,
Yep.
steals a condom from his trash, and
Yep.
puts the semen inside of her.
Yep, yep, yep.
Um,
And
icky,
this
icky,
was
yuck.
where it got really difficult for me to watch. Like I just it made me physically uncomfortable how many bad decisions were compounding on top of bad decisions and like it's really really anxiety inducing. And I was like, "It's
As the cop,
1993. Do you have DNA tests?" And then it's like, "It's your blood type." And I was like, "Oh no." And then he's like, "She must have stolen a condom." And I'm like, "Nobody's going to fucking believe that, you psycho."
but I love as they're putting him in in the cop car. I finally got to shout, and it almost happened. Where I'm like, "Red Foreman beat his ass."
Oh yeah, he launches himself because they're like carrying like, put a blanket around Alicia Silverstone and they're like leading her into a cop car gently and he locks eyes with Cary Elwes and he just fucking launches himself to go beat the shit out of Cary Elwes. And like who the fuck's gonna blame him?
The rest of the timeline of the end of this movie is a little bit confusing. So he does get let go. Like basically his boss ends up telling him like,
Get the fuck out of town.
"You got to get the fuck out of here. You're embarrassing me." But the family is leaving. You got tonight to go get your shit and get the hell out of this house and get out of town. He goes, he's getting his shit. Cheyenne shows up, all beat up and shit too. And I'm
And I'm just like,
confused.
stop hanging out with 14-year-old girls.
Get new friends. And he's like, I did. They killed her.
But yeah, and then Cheyenne's like, "Oh yeah, she's done this before with a camp counselor, and that guy died mysteriously." And you're like, "Oh no." That is what officially escalates the movie from like she is like lovesick and confused and like mate like to like, "Oh no, this is a pattern of behavior. She is a serial killer at this point."
Cheyenne disappears. He has to go back in the house.
Because
And
I don't even know why, because I was screaming the whole time, like, "Don't go in the house! Don't! Stop!"
Adrian and Nick get in a fight. She shoves him over the railing of the stairs. He
I thought
falls
he was
down.
dead. For
They
sure.
battle a little further. She goes back into the attic. And at this point, Red Foreman's home. He's banging on the door. But Nick still follows her into the attic where we see Cheyenne duct taped to the carousel. So it's just like,
Chekhov's carousel pays off. And
paperless
yes,
carousel.
I know. And so, like, they're still battling it out. And he's trying to get Cheyenne free. He's trying to not get beat to death um by Alicia Silverstone. And then her dad comes in, and of course she's like on the ground with Carrie on top of her and she's screaming, "Daddy help me, daddy help me." And so
A
he
real
like
comedy of errors is happening in
oh
this
absolutely,
movie.
he like tackles Carrie off of her and is like choking him and like holding his head, like trying to push his head into the moving carousel, like so that it will, I don't know, murder him via carousel. And that's when she screams, "Leave him alone!" and beats up her own dad.
Cary always gets up. She comes at him with the stick now that she was just beating her father with.
Yeah.
And in a
Who is knocked
series
out now. He's totally, like,
yeah.
out.
And in a series of 2 beautiful moves,
Mm.
he's just like does a combo takedown where he goes, "Take stick," and then in slow motion punches Alicia Silverstone in the face so hard
Mhm.
that she flies 15 feet
15
across the
feet at
room.
least. Absolutely. It is incredible. The whole movie might be worth it just to see, like, that
That pu
incredible punch.
like, Cary Elwes punched Alicia Silverstone so that down the road, Nicolas Cage could beat the
Mm.
shit out of Lily Sobieski,
Mhm, mhm.
in Wicker Man. Like, this was a walk so they can run situation.
Absolutely.
And this whole end, like, even if you were cringing the whole movie, this, like, 2-minute payoff makes the whole 88 minutes you sat through this movie absolutely worth it. Like,
It is a
this is an ending,
wild
I'm in
carousel
tears.
ride.
Like, Alicia Silverstone's being so fucking crazy. Her friend's duct tape. She's beating up Red Foreman. He's beating up Red
The
Foreman. He's
the
beating up her.
the fact that she doesn't even know half the time whether to scream like "Daddy, kill him" or "Daddy, leave him alone" is incredible.
Long story short, she ends up in an insane asylum.
Yep, yep.
She's writing Nick letters.
I
She
do not
falls
know
in love
why
with the
they
doctor.
let I do not know why they let her send so much mail. Surely they would recognize that that many letters is harassment.
If you can't send 40 letters to an adult that you're trying to have sex with, how else are you going to get your Batman villain origin story?
That is a really good point, Garrett.
She's
I
trapped in Arkham trying to fuck her doctor now.
Yep.
And just, it is,
It's very horror
man,
movie-esque because it's like the monster's not really dead. She's got this guy's picture stolen now.
where I started with the Erotic Thriller Project was ranking them. And on paper, this movie should be low. But damn, this movie's a ride. This
It is.
movie is a trip. The
Yeah.
performance is good enough to make it worth watching, but the insanity of this story and just knowing that the writer director claims this movie happened to him. However, Kit,
It Yeah.
this is a problem. Our ranking
Oh my
system
god.
is broken for these movies
Absolutely.
because there's any movie like this, Poison Ivy, any of like these Lolita type movies.
Yeah.
Because one, was I aroused? Zero.
Oh, I put
Zero.
point .5 for Carrie's butt.
That's okay. Yes, I was a little aroused because he's so fucking handsome in this
He is
movie.
really cute. That was the thing. I had to give it at least half a point because he's really he's handsome and you get to see a little butt. Otherwise no. Like there's nothing sexy about it.
No, my penis went back into itself. It retracted
Mhm.
inside of my body
Mhm.
most of this movie. Uh so no, it ranks low there. But here's was it thrilling?
Oh, absolutely. I gave it 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah. He makes so many mistakes early on and
Yeah.
it escalates so big that
Yes.
it is like going up a step ladder of like thrills. Uh,
Absolutely. It escalates at a nice pace too. I think the number of times I wrote "Carrie, no" really escalates across the page, and at the same time, like, you're gonna feel a little icky watching it because, it's sexualizing an underage girl, and you know that this is a narrative that actual perverts tell themselves to justify the bad shit they do. Like, "Aw, she was really into me. She really wanted it. She seems so adult for her age. Oh, what's this? Now everybody's mad at me because I kissed her at the lighthouse." Right? Like this is weird. It makes me feel weird.
I'm looking up to see what Alan Shapiro, the writer director, looked like.
Is he as cute as Cary Elwes?
Is this really him? No. This can't this can't be. If this guy oh my god. Kit, I'm about to show you this picture of Alan Shapiro, which keep in mind, the only movie this dude wrote and directed after this was the live action Flipper movie with Paul Hogan.
You're joking. So Oh, gross. Oh, God.
This is the
Oh, no.
face of a man. Like, I don't want to shame somebody for their looks, but he's guilty.
Guilty. 100%. There's no way she was. Listen, I believe that someone would, like a 14-year-old, be obsessed if Cary Elwes was living in their guest house. No one's going to be obsessed with that asshole if he's living in your guest house. Not happening.
That being said, if she really was a horse girl, who knows?
No,
All
she could
bets
be
are off.
capable of anything.
So yeah, overall, this
Okay.
movie
Wait, we still have to
rank
do our would
would
ruin
yeah.
life scale. Okay, so on the would ruin life scale, 0 out of 5 would not ruin my life for Alicia Silverstone. Like, love her, she's doing a great job. Not even close though. She does look too young. Like it's she
She
looks like
literally is.
she literally is, and she looks it. Like, it's not like some movies where, like you said, they're having a 20-year-old play her, and it's like, well, yeah, of course I'm attracted to her. She's actually 20. No, she looks young because she is. Would
What
not
about
ruin my
Carrie?
life. Carrie?
Would you like honestly, he's
3 out
he's
of
dumb,
5
but
would
he's
ruin
pretty.
life. Yeah, 3 out of 5 would ruin life because he's dumb and he's a bad writer, but he's really cute. So, yeah, 3 out of 5.
Yeah. You're gonna end up in some bad situations. And Amy, who does live at the end of the movie overall, like maybe ruined my life for Amy a little bit.
Yeah, like 3.5 out of 5. She's
I
cute.
think this one really is a hard one to rank because it goes negative, honestly, into the eroticism for me.
Mhm.
But that being said, it is a good erotic thriller.
Yes. I mean,
Like it's
slash
a
horror
specific
movie.
it's a specific kind that more acts as a cautionary tale than
You
it
know,
does like something to
if
get you
this
going.
if this movie stopped even one grown man from hitting on a 14-year-old girl, then it has done a service for humanity, right?
Cary Elwes sacrificed his career doing the
Mhm.
big work to make sure none of you sick sex pest perverts out there get any ideas.
Yeah, in the same way that people saw Fatal Attraction and were like, "Oh no, I guess I won't cheat on my wife." Like, here you go.
The tale of all these movies is be careful who you fuck.
Yes, because we have a lot of complicated feelings about fucking and who we fuck. So it makes sense that in the same way that every horror movie is not really about the monster, it's about like our deep underlying fears of what that monster represents, right? Like, that's kind of applies here as well.
Absolutely. Overall, I put this on the watch list. Definitely check this movie out. You can find it on Tubi, wherever.
I will
It is
say
going
that
to be worth your time.
I recommend it with a caveat. Like, if you're the type of person, like my mom cannot watch like wrong man movies. It makes her far too anxious. She just can't handle it. So she will walk out. So if that's a thing that's gonna particularly upset you, first of all, most erotic thrillers are probably gonna be too hard for you, and I'm sorry for that. But like, just go into
And
this
you're not
one.
in the fucking club.
I'm sorry, you gotta leave the club. You're out. You gotta push through it. You got, like, this is an exercise in endurance of putting up with that anxiety to get to the carousel punch.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in this week. We'll be back next week talking something else sexy. Give us a follow on Instagram at Erotic Thriller Club. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, hit up our inbox at Erotic Thriller Club at gmail.com. I'm at Gartet on Instagram.
I'm at and Caboodle on Instagram.
Everyone, thank you. We love you. We want to shake you naked and eat you alive.